there is peace. Because peace without justice, we are pretending. One day we're going to have an outburst. Please, we don't owe white people an apology. Black people, stop apologizing to white people. They are the ones who are owing us an apology. You have done too much to damage a black nation. We are unemployed because of you. We are dying of diseases because of you. We are illiterate because of you. We have surrendered to drugs because of you. You owe us a lot. You must show remorse and stop behaving like crybabies. The South African democracy is going to be built by a robust debate, particularly when it comes to race relations. We must stop pretending to each other here. The poor means black. The rich means white. For as long as that has not been resolved, there will be a permanent problem between the poor and the rich.
But why wouldn't you arrest that man? That man said, kill the white farmers, kill the white farmers. And then he danced, and he's dancing, and it's kill the white farmers. I'm not sure, but I think if somebody got up in Parliament and started saying, kill a certain group of people, that he would be arrested very quickly. That man is going all over South Africa, and that's not a small party. That was a stadium that holds 100,000 people, and I hardly saw an empty seat. That's a lot of people. That's a lot of representation. And those crosses, we have dead white people, dead white farmers, mostly. And you take a look at Australia. They're being inundated, and we're being inundated with people that want to get out. And their farm is valueless. It's valueless. And they just want to get out with their life. And this is a very serious situation. And if we had a real news or real press or media, we don't have that because they won't talk about this because they're all guys like that idiot. But if we had a real press, it would be exposed. And you know the beauty of exposing it is it's like a cleansing action. When it gets exposed, it'll get fixed. That's when it'll get fixed. But people don't talk about it. And I'll tell you who's talking about the thousands of people that are fleeing South Africa right now.
USAID and the devastating impact the cuts are having across the African continent.
You know, it's devastating, and hopefully a lot of people are going to start spending a lot of money. And I've talked to other nations. We want them to chip in and spend money too. And we've spent a lot, and it's a tremendous problem going on in many countries. A lot of problems going on. The United States always gets the request for money. Nobody else helps, as you know. Europe doesn't help. Europe hasn't given anything. All they do is sue our companies. You know, they sue Apple, and they sue all of our companies. Apple had to pay $17 million on a nonsense lawsuit. Very unfair. But we're going to always be there to help.
President Sherman writes in South African broadcasting, if this Afrikaner resettlement issue is resolved, we're going to go to a room after this, you guys are going to talk. If it is resolved, what's the potential for the future-looking relationships?
It's got to be resolved. It should be resolved. It's a little bit bad when you see a stadium with 100,000 people in it, because that means it's more than just a little movement. It's a pretty big movement in South Africa, so it has to be resolved. It'll be the end of the country if it's not.
The potential for the relationship moving forward.
I hope so. That's why I'm here. I mean, I'm not here for my health. I'm here to see what No, I'd like to see. I have friends. I can tell you, Ernie Els and Rajiv Dussault, they feel so strongly they wanted to be here on behalf of South Africa, not on behalf of me. And, you know, they said, can we be here for this? Because they love the country. Ernie, do you guys want to say a couple of words? I hate to put you in. This is tougher than sinking a 3-footer.
There are no Afrikaners who have been killed here in South Africa. It's not true. And there are no 49 Afrikaners who left South Africa. You all know that. It's a fiction. It's drama. You know, America with drama is number one. That thing is Muvango. I don't know what is Muvango in Africa. It's just a drama. I believe they landed and then they waited for cameras, took them pictures. The next flight back to South Africa. If those people are farmers, it means there are 49 farms available. Why are we not expropriating them? Because they've abandoned them. But why is the media not telling us? Because they farmers. Why is the media, through its own investigation, say to us, this picture you see is a farmer and this. They are not farmers. There's no one who left farming here in South Africa. I suspect that those whites these ones were looking after cars at the parking lot. They were attending to cars and they went to fetch them there. And they can't live. They will never live the kind of life they live here in South Africa anywhere else. Even if you live here as a millionaire and you go to USA, your money gets reduced to nothing. So no American or Afrikaner will leave South Africa for America. It's not true. Our country, there's no killing of white people. We're not killing white people. We're demanding our land. We're saying let's share this land. Let's all work the land. And if that is a crime, it's a crime we're prepared to commit. Because we can't, when we're asking for food, and say no, you're committing crime by asking. We're having a robust debate on land in South Africa. And that must never be used to silence us by America.
If you don't think Donald Trump is racist, then you did not just witness what happened between him and the South African president in the Oval Office while they were supposed to be discussing coming together on a bill. Donald Trump never gave a fuck about Gaza. He never gave a fuck about you. So for everybody who said, oh my goodness, we are voting for him because Joe Biden allowed a mass genocide to happen, Donald Trump just asked the South African president in the Oval Office why he allowed white refugees to go through a genocide in South Africa. Do you know how fucking crazy that is? The same white refugees he brought here to take all the farmland that the government seized that have no farming skills. Same immigrants from Africa that their entire lineage is known for killing Africans to take their land, yet he just asked the president of South Africa, the black president, why he allowed them to experience a genocide and confronted him on a genocide in South Africa. That is not fucking happening, by the way. It's not happening. So for everyone who's like, oh well, why would we vote for Biden? And he allowed, did he ask the leader of Israel why he's encouraging a genocide? Or seizing the Gaza Strip? Or unaliving thousands of people daily? No, but he asked in the name of white refugees. Okay, what fucking timeline are we in? What fucking timeline are we in that our president is ignoring having parts in a war that has actively been an actual genocide, but instead turned to racism and these white refugees who literally are descendants of some of the worst racists in the world, and asked our president why he allowed them to experience genocide? I need to get the fuck out of this place. I need to get out of this place. We're doomed. We're going the wrong way.
Donald Trump seems to be on a mission to have ever-increasingly embarrassing meetings in the Oval Office. Most recently, he hosted the president of South Africa, who he looked in the face and told, your country is a white genocide. And the president was like, well, respectfully, no, that's not happening. And Donald Trump saying, yes, it is. And then he pulled out evidence, only that evidence has all been debunked. Like he showed a video of all of these little white crosses along a roadway. And Donald Trump said, these are burial sites right here. And then he said, each one of these white things you see is a cross. There's approximately 1,000 of them. They're all white farmers, the family of white farmers. Those people are all killed, Trump added. Yeah, so first of all, apparently people are just buried on top of each other along a roadway, by his logic. No, those are not burial sites, nor do they represent dead farmers, and you don't have to take my word for it. You can take the word of the man who put up those crosses. There were 2 farmers who were killed. And as part of a protest to that, they went along this roadway and put white crosses up that were then removed after the protest. They didn't represent individual people. It was just about these 2 people. Then Donald Trump showed a video where a person in a red beret repeatedly chants, kill the poor, kill the farmer, and speaks about taking land without compensation. That person is Julius Malema, who founded the small but radical party Economic Freedom Fighters after being expelled from the African National Congress, of which the president is a member. And after playing that video, the president explained to Donald Trump that does not represent the policies of this government. South Africa's opposition agriculture minister also said many parties had worked to keep extremists out of government. That guy and his group are extremists. They are not in power. Then Donald Trump pulled out a photo and he's like, these are dead white people who were killed in the genocide. The picture he's showing is from the Congo, because Africa is a continent that has many countries within it. It wasn't in South Africa that happened. It was in the Congo. And in of South Africa who had to sit there and be berated by a man who confidently declared things that were categorically false and used evidence that was inaccurate and not true, his only response he could really say was, "I'm sorry I don't have a plane to give you." Because apparently this administration, if you do something like gift them a plane, they forgive all kinds of terrible things. But today, my feed is full of conservative creators who all make the same video where they look at the camera and have music playing and they nod as text on the screen reads, "Donald Trump confronting the president of South Africa about the white genocide is exactly what I voted for." Is it? You voted for theatrics based on conspiracy theories that are false, using fake information? That's what you voted for? Meanwhile, while you're celebrating this big W, more than 7 million could lose Medicaid in House mega bill approved Thursday. Yeah, they're going to take away Medicaid for a ton of people, not to mention all the food assistance programs that are being shut down that will affect children, will affect veterans, will affect seniors. And you're too busy looking over here as they snap their fingers. "White genocide, look what's happening in South Africa, we got to help." You're like, "Oh, that's terrible," as they literally rob basic shit from you, as they use your tax dollars to import white immigrants and simultaneously use your tax dollars to deport brown immigrants. And I'm all for people who need protection being allowed to come here and seek protection. But meanwhile, he's revoked the protection, the asylum status, of thousands of Venezuelans, for example, who face actual real threats, while giving it to people who aren't facing the threats that he's made up. That's this administration.
So Donald Trump had one of his White House press conferences with another world leader. This time, it was a gentleman by the name of Cyril Ramaphosa, I believe. He is the president of South Africa. Now, this man happens to be black. And he thought you might have a nice little conversation. Donald Trump would talk about all his big wins that are bullshit. But that's not what happened. What happened was an ambush, a la President Zelensky. Donald Trump had been getting some pushback about bringing these white South Africans in to this country. He was making claims of genocide against white people in South Africa. So he brings this president in, and he immediately goes after him. He has a stack of conspiracy theories on paper and hands them to him and wants to show a video and all this stuff. Everything that Donald Trump said about this alleged genocide in South Africa is not happening. But he needed to prove his point, give a reason why he brought these people in. The bottom line is, it's about racism. It's about performance. It's about stupid shit. That's what Donald Trump does. So once again, he embarrasses the entire country by bringing in a world leader. He ambushes him, gets unhinged. And then when the press start asking him questions, like about the plane or whatever, he loses his shit on them too. Here's a guy that doesn't have the temperament to be a president. Fuck, he doesn't have the temperament to be a cashier at a grocery store. We're getting tired of seeing these things. It's an embarrassment. And how many more embarrassments do we have to go through before the Republicans say, enough?
What was that? South Africa been saying you have a target on your back, but this was a sabotage. Because let's be clear, this wasn't a meeting, this wasn't even a diplomatic visit. This was a straight-up trial, and President T came armed. His whole team need bonuses and vacations with the way they pulled out videos, articles, pictures, receipts. And President Ramaphosa was bamboozled, thinking about this was just another day of strengthening bilateral ties. No, sir. Someone on your payroll had to have set you up. Because who shows up with rich businessmen, okay? Famous golfer, one of them is a famous golfer, couple of ministers, and a 14 kg golf book to an off-the-record cross-examination. And don't get me started on the Minister of International Relations and Cooperations, Ronald Lamola, the one next to President Ramaphosa. When I saw him, I was like, thank God. Even though he didn't bring his notes and articles because he probably treated this as a vacation, he definitely can speak on SAP's finding, which is South Africa Police Services. Their findings, since he used to be the former Minister of Justice and Correctional Services, he's been all over this case. Only to find out, he gave us nothing. Look, he sat there like a student, nothing coming out of his memory. And then there was this South African businessman, Rupert, who I've never seen before, but I kind of like him because he did what any family member would do when there's in-house dispute or fighting. He patched up those allegations and said, listen, crime is affecting all of South Africans, not just a specific group, okay? So if you can go ahead and give us those technologies, we'll be on our way. Kind of like saying, don't let any strangers into family affairs. I don't know if I can do more because there was so much going on. Trump's evidence of a white genocide is Julius Malema. And the thing that is dusting me is the president's reaction. The president's reaction.
All right, so what is the story about the Afrikaners who have moved to America as refugees? The reality is, once upon a time in South Africa, there used to be apartheid. Apartheid is whereby the people were divided between races. You go to different schools, you go to different neighborhoods, you go to different jobs depending on your race. So there used to be the whites, the colored, the black, the Indians, and many other races. The ones who were known was basically the white, who were the upper class, then the Indians, of course, then the colored, then there's the black, who are the bottom of the pyramid. That is the reality. So who benefited the most? Of course, it's the whites who benefited. That is the Afrikaners who benefited the most. Right now in South Africa, you are being told 3/4 of South African land is being owned by the whites, who are the minority in South Africa. While the blacks, who are the majority right now, they're very, very poor as a result of the apartheid, because majority of the blacks didn't go to school. Majority of the blacks were living in poverty. Majority of the blacks don't have jobs. Why? Because they don't have education. And that is thanks to apartheid. That is the reality. So come with me, just listen what's happening right now in South Africa. So as a result, today, fast forward after independence, when Nelson Mandela was announced as the president of South Africa, fast forward to now 2025, South Africa is experiencing a big problem of criminals. There is a high number of criminality in South Africa, and that is the reality. In fact, the rate is so high, it's one of the highest in Africa right now. Why? That is the big question that everybody is asking. Thanks to apartheid, majority of the blacks didn't go to school. They don't have education. They have grown up to become adults. Right now, they have families. They want to take care of them. But they don't have any jobs. They cannot take care of their kids. They cannot take care of themselves because they don't have any education. They cannot get jobs, and they turn to crimes. That is the reality. So this crime is affecting everybody in South Africa. Whether you're white, black, Indian, it doesn't matter. It's affecting everybody. So when people say, oh, there is a lot of criminality in South Africa, yes, it is true. It's there as a result of apartheid. So now the government is trying to fix the problem. It's trying to make corrections, whether it is trying to divide land so that at least some of the blacks can get some of the land so they can take care of themselves, whether it's trying to educate the blacks so that they can get jobs, whether it's trying to come up with a system where people can have these skills that are literally in demand right now so that they're able to get jobs, or they can become self-employed and become productive members of society. That's basically what the government is trying to come up with, measures to try to curb this criminality, because as a result of people fighting poverty and not having jobs and not be able to take care of themselves and their family. So are the Afrikaners experiencing genocide in South Africa? No. Has it been proven? Yes. Is there criminality in South Africa? Yes. The whites affected? Yes. And so are the blacks, and so are the Indians, and so are the other races. Literally, criminality is affecting everybody across the board. That is the reality of what's happening in South Africa. Let me know what you think about this video, and drop your comments, and please don't forget to subscribe.